ironically for 2018, a year where we were losing money on the bottom line, but still continuing to double top line. And I love this quote from Dan Sullivan, for a company to grow 10x, it doesn't need you managing it, it needs self-managing. And I think this is one of the key takeaways that 2018 really emphasized for us, was just knowing our numbers and making it a team event. So I had tried for the longest time to like integrate different platforms using Grow or Tableau and integrating Google Analytics and Facebook Analytics and all your, your marketing spend and your metrics. And none of them ever worked. They partially worked, or they broke all the time. And we just could not seem to get there. And then as a team, no one owned them when we did it that way. So the big thing that I think part of the shift was, I finally just kind of gave up in exasperation and said, look, we're just going to do this like manually, old school. So we created a Google Sheet and talked to, different entrepreneurs in e-commerce, looked up different stats, and here are the metrics we came up with to run our business. And this was in 2018 when we were in the thick of it. This got implemented in August. So that's about 4 months in to us losing money month over month. And for us, we have a top level scorecard in our Google Sheet, and then we have tabs for each of the different scorecards, kind of by department or area. So the top level scorecard for us is just, hey, what are your net sales? For us, we sell on Amazon and Shopify. So net sales, gross sales, and margin on Amazon. And then Shopify, and what are our net sales and what are our gross sales? And then margin, including marketing, excluding returns. Then we look at ROAS, ad spend as a percentage of sales, and then inventory. So what we experienced in 2018 was we just did not have a good handle on our metrics and on our numbers. And in particular, we saw our ad spend as a percentage of sales just increase and increase. And it just wasn't efficient. We were not scaling. We were spending quite a bit without seeing the growth. We had a number of other headwinds as well. At the time, we moved from a 3PL to moved all our fulfillment in-house. We spent a lot on a warehouse. We implemented NetSuite, and we tried a Kickstarter campaign. So we had all these one-time expenses, increased our head count, and at the same time saw Facebook performance decline or not improve much, which led to 5 months of unprofitability. And in addition to having inventory just continuing to bloom, which is why we have inventory on this sheet as well on our top level scorecard, just to see how it's doing. Weekly advertising report I pulled out because this one was the one key area where we had the most control and had the most impact, ad spend. So for us, we look at gross sales overall channels, then we dive into Shopify gross sales and Amazon, and return on ad spend from advertising. And then we also look at our agency fees, and then advertising as a percentage of gross sales. And then down below that, we just break it out. So we look at Facebook and Instagram, and then AdWords, and then underneath this would be, for us, Amazon pay-per-click, Pinterest spend, any influencer spend, any affiliate spend. And the questions we were looking to answer were what is your advertising as a percentage of gross sales? Like, we realized that, quickly, if we got into certain territories, that all of a sudden we started losing money. And at what percent of gross sales is advertising unprofitable? Answering that question. What return on ad spend do you have to hit to be profitable for us? And if you don't track them, we just realized we didn't really know what net sales are break even and what cover fixed costs. And this was maybe even bigger than some of the other things for us, realizing that we had to scale some just to cover new fixed costs. Otherwise, we would continue to be negative. And then, also looking at optimal inventory levels, because if you miss forecast continually, because you're not growing or scaling as anticipated, then inventory balloons. So you kind of have this double-edged sword where you have all this cash tied up in inventory. just makes it worse. I think one of the other things here that was key for us was that we don't set goals. Like none of these have goals. They have standards. So there's a standard column that says like, you have to hit this number. So we know that number that we have to hit to either maintain profitability or grow or whatever it is that's pertinent to that metric. And it's not like a goal. It's something you should be hitting like 80% of the time. And so the conversation then is, if you miss it, it's a significant conversation, because it's like, hey, why did we miss? Like, what happened here? You shouldn't miss your standard. Like, standards don't get missed. Goals do get missed.
What does your financial reporting rhythm look like now? Like, do you get reports weekly? How did you set that up? And what did the team look like that you had to put in place to be able to get those reports in a timely manner?
Oh man, accounting is still, it's a tough one. I guess it depends. I feel like it's a tough one for a lot of people, but for us, we have, now we have month end. So we always do month end close, and it's by the second week. So next Tuesday, I'll be looking at September numbers. It's always on a Tuesday. I have an accounting meeting every Tuesday that's standing. So for us, we're always looking at numbers on Tuesdays for a half an hour. And it's not necessarily last month's financials, right? Like today's a Tuesday. And the accounting meeting I had this morning was looking at the cash flow statement. We always start with that one and look at it. What's cash look like moving forward? What POs are coming in, kind of what credit card spend or any other spend that's going to impact forward-looking cash flow. We look at the KPI sheet that I just shared, the overall one, just the main one, but that's as related to cash. How is cash compared to forecast? So that's kind of our rhythm. We have a weekly rhythm, half an hour meeting, accounting. Our accounting team now looks like, we have 2 staff accountants. We have a senior accounting manager / controller, and then a fractional CFO. And the monthly reporting, it's great to have now. But again, to me, it's rear view. So it's just kind of like confirmation of you did the right thing or you didn't do the right thing.